With the 24 hours LeMans race and the weekend fastly approaching, I'll be breaking down the forecast of what you could expect. All that coming up in this video. Alright y'all, let's first go ahead and break down the 24 hours LeMans race. Put in the comments below, who are y'all rooting for in this race? I'm rooting for Corvette Racing, but we'll see who's going to come out on top. If you're heading out to the race, this date and time is up here. Now, this isn't Eastern time, by the way. The race over there is going to be starting right around 3 o'clock, so that's around 8 o'clock in Eastern time here in the US. It looks like it's going to be pretty dry to start off the race. It looks like we're going to deal with some rain showers throughout the race. And then by the time the race ends tomorrow, we're going to be still in the clear. As far as temperatures go for the race, looks like we're going to be dealing with low 70-degree temperatures to start off the race, cool down throughout the night, and then warm back up into the upper 70s by the time the race ends on Sunday. So hopefully it's a good race for Corvette Racing out there, and if y'all are heading out to the race, it looks like it's going to be pretty nice. As we head off back into America, it looks like we could be dealing with some severe weather here on Thursday, as there is a slight risk down here in southeastern Texas, which includes a marginal risk surrounding that here in the dark green, which includes Montana on over into the Dakotas and Georgia on up into South Carolina. Now, there is no tornado threat today, but there is a low-end damaging wind threat within the marginal risk zones, which is a 5% chance and a 15% than that slight risk zone down here in southeastern Texas. And as far as the large hail threat goes, pretty much the same story except for up here in Montana where y'all are excluded from the hail threat. Now, there is a 5% chance within these dark red zones here and a 15% chance within this slight risk zone on southeastern Texas. Now, as we head off into Friday, there's a low end chance for severe weather, but still some severe weather nonetheless, as there is a marginal risk which spans from Colorado all the way down into west central Texas. Again, there is no tornado threat tomorrow either, but there is a damaging wind and a large hail threat, which is a 5% chance within the whole zone. As we head off into Saturday, there is a bigger chance for severe weather as there is a slight risk, which includes Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas, with a marginal risk surrounding that as well. Now, we don't know the main hazards of that just yet. In my video on Saturdays, if you want to keep up to date on the severe weather, make sure y'all subscribe down below, where we make weather fun and informative. So let's go and take a look at the time frames and when you could expect the worst and severe weather. Looking at the HRRR model, keep in mind the date and times up here if you want to keep track. This is in Eastern time, by the way, so keep that in mind. As we push this forward, it looks like right around 5 o'clock through 8 o'clock, it looks like it's when the worst severe weather could happen within the slight risk zone. Now keep in mind, with any of these renegade supercells could bring in with it some damaging winds and some large hail today, so make sure you keep the cars in the garage doing any hail damage, and make sure you tie down anything you don't want blowing around out there. It looks like up there in the marginal risk zone, especially over here in Georgia and South Carolina, it looks like could be dealing with some severe weather through the overnight hours tonight. There's also a flash flooding threat as well up here by Montana, as there is a moderate risk for flooding. So if you live in a low-lying area, please be aware of that and turn around and do not drown. Now to look at the threats on Friday, one floor resolution down to the name 3 kilometer. Now keep in mind this is going to be a low end wind and hail threat tomorrow, so keep that in mind as we push this forward. Looks like the worst severe weather could happen from right around 8 o'clock through right around midnight with the marginal risk zone. Looks like there could be some flooding along with that as well. And that pushes us off into Saturday where there's a bigger chance of severe weather. And according to the name 3 kilometer, it looks like there could be a couple rounds of severe weather. The first round could be hitting in the early morning hours on Saturday. It looks like there could be a bow echo event happening up here in central Oklahoma. It's going to turn into a little bit of a flooding threat. And we're going to be dealing with another round through the evening hours on Saturday, with some renegade supercells going to be popping up over here in northeastern Texas. Now, I wouldn't be surprised there's going to be an enhanced risk that's going to be issued with a pretty significant tornado chance, but still anything can happen. And the best way to prepare is to be weather aware. Nowhere to go when that tornado warning goes off. Storm shelter, basement, keeping the most you can get in the outside as possible, and never fear as shelter is near. So whatever risk you are in for the next 3 days, just still remain weather aware, even though there is no tornado threat. Be aware that of hail and wind, as we could be dealing with some 30-mile-an-hour winds today within that slight risk zone. So let's go ahead and take a look at the hurricane forecast, see if there's any hurricanes. Now it looks like there is no tropical storm development going on out here in the Atlantic. Now there was a little bit of a tropical disturbance that turned into a little something out here in western Florida, but really it wasn't really much. So let's go and take a look at what we could expect as we head towards the middle of June. To take a look at what we could expect as we head towards the middle of June, we're going to look at something we call the 500 millibar hot anomaly, and I'm sure y'all are wondering when the heck is this smoke going to get out of my area, especially if you live in the eastern part of the United States. And this is going to tell us pretty much when we could expect that based on the blues and the reds here. The blues represent the low pressure basically the bad weather, and the reds represent the good weather. So let's go ahead and push this forward here. It looks like we're going to be in this little pattern for quite a while. The blues are pretty much the dominant force here. It looks like a disturbance is going to be coming through on the 12th. So they'll bring in some Canadian smoke to the Midwestern part of the country and bring in some bad weather with it as well. And it looks like we're going to be in this little pattern until the middle of the month. As you see, there's a little bit of a high pressure system that could push a little of the smoke out of the area and could bring some good weather. Now we're going to look at the simulated radar, and keep in mind the date and times above my head if you want to keep track of that. We're going to be dealing with some severe weather for the next 3 days down in the southern plains and the northern plains. After that, we're going to be in this little wet pattern out east, especially by the 11th. Now this could tame smoky conditions, but that's going to head towards the northeast by the 13th. And it looks like we could be dealing with some severe weather by the 15th down here by Oklahoma, Kansas, and that area. And it looks like we're going to be drying out again. Now let's take a look at the temperature anomalies. Let's see what kind of temperatures we could expect for the upcoming weeks. It looks like we're in this little below average pattern out here in the eastern part of the country, especially in the southwestern part. As it pushes forward, it looks like we're going to remain in that pattern. It looks like the central half of the United States is going to be above average by the 10th. It looks like we're remaining up below average for most of the country by the 13th, before we head into an above average pattern by the 16th and remain in that pattern for quite a while. And according to the Climate Prediction Center, for the next 6 to 10 days, it looks like it's in agreement with that, with the southwestern part of the country in a below average temperature pattern, the eastern part of the country in a below average temperature pattern as well. But here in the red, in the northern part of the country and the southern part of the country, y'all are going to be above average as far as temperatures go. The 8 to 14-day outlook says that the each part of the country is going to be above average, and the western part is going to be below average. So it looks like we're on a little bit of a battle zone setting up as far as temperatures go. And as far as precipitation goes, looks like much of the country is going to be above average as far as precip goes, except for up here by Wisconsin and Michigan, down here from Arizona on over into Florida. If we head off into 8 to 14-day outlook, looks like not much has changed really. So above average pattern out here in the western part and the part of the eastern part of the country. Still dealing with the below average precipitation pattern from Arizona on over into the panhandle of Florida. It looks like a wild weather pattern is going to be setting up as we're going to be in a big temperature swing, and severe weather could be in store as well as we head towards the middle of June. And it looks like this smoky pattern in the eastern part of the country is going to be setting in for quite some time. So please be aware of that if you live in the eastern part of the country. And if you're heading out to the 24 Hours of Le Mans this weekend out in France, looks like it's going to be a pretty nice race weekend for y'all out there. Hopefully Corvette Racing picks up the victory. And if you live within the risk areas for the next 3 days, especially on Saturday, please be weather aware in order to go when the severe weather warning goes off. And I might have a video out on Saturday as well. So make sure y'all hit the subscribe button down below so you'll never miss a video. Y'all get updated because here on Willie's Weather, we make weather fun and informative. And there's also a flooding threat up there in Montana as well. So if you live in that area, just please be aware of that. Turn around and do not drown. So if you like the video, please hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe down below. I appreciate everybody for watching and tuning in. And until next time, never stop forecasting.